There he is. Yep. Yep, I see you. I see me. Okay. And we're right in the middle of the screen. Okay. There you go. Yeah, the only thing I see your desk.
Okay, I think we are on. Hey. So, okay, I think we are on.
There you go.
Yeah. So I need to turn off my voice feedback. So I don't want to hear anything from the echo. So because when you say something, your voice might come back into the microphone, eventually cause some echo.
Okay.
So in the worst case, I'm going to turn you off. Okay, so yeah, I think I'm on. We're on, right? So this is our first time to do this kind of a live stream. But this is kind of like a different way to do it, right? So since this is the first time, it could be turned out to be pretty bad. Who knows? But I think that's a way we practice. So the idea of doing this Buildathon live stream is basically when I'm preparing for the event that we have in GitHub. I found it's really hard to demo everything and within like 30 minutes time frame, right? And actually, the people come to the event, they don't really be able to see clearly what I've done, and if they want to follow, there's just not enough time. But I think our community, when they really get interested into what we are actually built, they might. I think especially how to get started is so important because if you do not set up the tool chains right, set up the environment right, be able to kind of play around with our like AIGNE Framework or other ArcBlock tools, that's going to be a roadblocker because if you're not able to get started, Matt, I believe that you also sometimes experience this kind of matter, right? So you really need to get started easily. So I'm thinking this kind of Buildathon is basically kind of broadcasting sometimes the way we work together, or sometimes the way that I work with my engineering teams. For example, when I trying something, but the engineer said everything worked, but when I tried it, it didn't work, right?
Mm-hmm.
it happens all the time. Sometimes it's a very, very stupid problem. So for example, a very typical problem that I have is I have several computers. Some of the computers have the environment still not updated. Um, so when I just try to run something, our developers, they are on the latest version, for example, latest version of the Node.js or some other tool chains, and it works well in all of their computer. But when I in one of my computer, it might just not work. Um, so so when this kind of problem happen, it's super frustrated because you feel so helpless. Even you kind of follow whatever we have, um, it, it takes a long time to kind of for you to troubleshooting. This happens all the time. I believe this is actually the normal day for every developer when you try to get started with a new project, or you try to grab some open source project and try to play for yourself. Usually, this kind of starting time is the hardest. So I think from today's buildathon is today's buildathon is I think it's not like typical day. I'm trying to imagine like I'm trying to work with you, but also working with you with somebody else in the team, just like day one in ArcBlock, and you have a brand new computer, and we're trying to, like for example, set up the AIGNE framework we're talking about. But before we doing everything, how do we set up your computer to ensure that at least when you follow this AIGNE framework's README, you are able to get all those examples started and run. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we actually.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I ran into this situation this morning. I was on the phone with AWS and some Gen AI folks at AWS, and we were having literally the exact same conversation this morning about because they were launching the AIGNE framework in real time during our call. So we were kind of talking about that, and they're able to quickly navigate their way around it, right? But I think for many folks that isn't necessarily the case, or they may not know the exact steps they need to take to get where they need to, and we obviously want to make that super easy and friendly. So yeah, this is very timely.
Yeah. We try to, because we have this for a while. For example, when you join my ArcBlock, you will see that in the team document there is always one page to get started and tell you what to install. There's like 5 to 10 different tools ask you to install in your Mac. But that's for the team to get started. But I think we try to kind of make this step as little as possible. So right now we kind of narrowed to only one requirement is Node.js. you need to get the Node.js correctly installed. Because our block stack is using the TypeScript and the Node.js as our first class citizen to kind of run everything. At least we need to get the Node.js installed, and then everything going to be take care by itself. And actually, Node.js itself has amazing tool chains. So we actually have a few things in the, especially when you come to this AIGNE framework, right? So when you get started, there's these examples. Important part are all those examples. If you go to this example page, those example pages going to have all our examples, and for every example there is a quick start. For example, no installation required. But this no installation required is after what we finished everything we talked today. Have the Node.js, have your system ready. So right now the whole ArcBlock team are on the Mac OS, and we also suppose to work perfectly with Linux system. Basically, we are Unix system fans. Unfortunately, we haven't have enough bandwidth to take care of the Microsoft Windows system yet. But I believe people who are serious developers who use Windows, you're still supposed to be able to have a Linux, at least some Linux, virtual machine run there. So that's also one of the reasons that we didn't support Windows 2 natively, because since you can run Linux, and even Microsoft had the Linux version shells, WSL there, so that makes it's really convenient if we just support the Unix system like Linux and Mac OS well, and then it also works for Windows. So since everybody in our team are using Mac, or the major computer is a Mac, so all those kind of demos are going to be in Mac. I assume our audience are mostly probably going to use Mac to develop on ArcBlock. If any of them you come to one of the try to run those examples. The examples say that you before you quick start, you still need two things, right? One is Node.js, and Node.js version should be bigger than 20. So Node.js is a very quickly iterated environment. Right now, I think the latest version is 24 or something. So we need Node.js to be more than 20. If you use a Mac, so Mac already come with the Node.js, but sometimes the default Node.js from the Mac system or from your Linux system might be old, because Node.js they bump their version really crazy, right? So I just have a computer, for example, one of my laptop I haven't used for a few months, and then I tried to run AIGNE and finally, it didn't work again. So and then I instantly grabbed one of our engineers, say, what happened? I just installed, and he said you might have an older version, and I think I just didn't use this computer for a few months, and but indeed after I checked the Node version, it's old. So just make sure that you need to have the Node.js installed and the version is more than 20 to see if you have a Node.js installed and to have the version, right? So you just go to this kind of a console.
Hey Robert, real quick, can you move your mic a little closer? Sounds like it's a couple of chats about it being a little bit quiet.
Yeah. So I can see. Is it good now? Is it better? Can you, Matt? You can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. I don't know what's people from the live stream. Is that no?
Somebody just posted that question. And then as we're talking to, I think one of the things I would love to cover as we talk about Node is to also maybe you could give a little bit of the description that you gave at the talk the other night, just around one is around the structure of AIGNE Framework, and then two is like TypeScript, like why TypeScript, I think would be really beneficial to understand, kind of like in our choice in terms of Node.js being the first class citizen, why TypeScript and why that kind of matters. I think that will be also really helpful to cover as we go through this.
Yeah. So I think let's just get started really quick, and by just to make sure that the Node.js is correctly installed, because that's a foundation of everything, right? So I just mentioned this how to you need to in the Mac you need to run the terminal. So I don't know the text on the terminal, will that be too small? It's a little bit small. Let me see if I can increase that. Okay, I think that's a maximize I have. So all you need to do is just to type node-v, right? So it will tell you the Node.js version is Node-is 24.3. So this is the latest version. production Node.js, that means it can be used. But if somebody in the audience say, "Should what if I don't have Node.js installed, and what if I don't have it, the version is lower? What to do?" Right? So the simplest way, for example, when you come to our repo, any of those examples, you say Node.js, you will see there's a link here, right? You click on the link, it takes you to the Node.js, and this is the Node.js website. So it clearly tells you how to install Node.js. If you click on install Node.js, it will tell you how to install it, right? So there's multiple different ways to do that. But this is not what I recommend. So even that's from the official Node.js website. We highly suggest everybody use a tool called NVM. NVM is basically Node version management system. So this is the open source project called a Node version manager, because Node has so many versions. Sometimes you need to switch around different versions. If you don't use NVM, it's going to be painful if you want to install the Node.js, and then probably this version causes some of your other software doesn't work. So use NVM. That definitely is removed a lot of headache. So this is highly recommended. So today I'm going to introduce, help you to guide through how to install NVM. You just search NVM or Node Version Manager. You're going to go to this GitHub repo, and from the GitHub repo, you will going to see Node Version Management, and this is going to tell you how to install this Node NVM, right? So on the Mac, all you need to do is you follow this line. So you can either use the first one or the second one. They're basically the same. Once you have that, you copy this command. You go to this command window. You just paste here, and then boom, it's run, right? So right now NVM is installed. It's not that it is fast because I already installed it. If you are doing that from scratch, it may take you a lot more longer to have the NVM installed. And the good news is usually NVM installation is very straightforward. Once you install the NVM, you can see NVM version, because the NVM itself is also you type nvm-v. So now I get like a 0.40.3, right? Sometimes the best way to ensure your version is correct. It's better to come to the repo to see. For example, the repo, you can see here the release version. The latest version is 0.40.3. So that is actually the latest version. So that basically means I installed it the latest NVM. So with the NVM, so using NVM, we're going to not only use NVM, going to remove your headache of the managed Node version. NVM is also make you look like a hacker. So in the public, and when you need to, especially the people who are playing with the Node.js, when you use NVM, I instantly say, okay, this guy is a good deal. Is a big deal, right? He know things about the Node.js. So I just teach you, everybody, try to use NVM instead of just the install. So NVM has a few commands. If you type NVM, don't get scary about those kind of command lines. They look scary, but actually they're pretty easy. As a real developers, every developer like the command line better than the IDE, better than the web interface, right? For some part of it. Right, especially in the AI age. Imagine AI is about a type to talk to a computer. Right, the terminal interface is the way that we used to talk to the computer from very early on. Just because in the past the computer is not that smart, is not smart enough, not like AI can talk like a natural language. So people eventually invented like GUI, graphic user interface. GUI has its own advantage, but it's just the kind of GUI. Imagine GUI are usually they're fixed, right? So you have to know all those panels is basically It's basically like a big control panel, but the command line, you can talk anything, right? So for example, when I just hit NVM, it listed usually for every command, include ArcBlocks. Once you type NVM, you type the command, you don't do anything, that command going to give you some help. So this is just a listed all those functions that the NVM have. You don't really actually need to learn all those commands. If you have time and you like it, you can try to play all of this. But usually there's just a few examples, a few things that you need to know. One is NVM list. For example, once I have NVM list, it basically show how many Node.js versions that have installed. So for example, right now you can see I have a Node v16 and Node v24, and the default is 24. Right, so basically, I'm currently using Node v24, and the default is also 24. So the cool thing is of NVM is if I want to use another Node version, I can just say Node use 16. Once I hit this, it's going to now using now my Node version becomes 16. So if I type node-v, it's become 16, right? So, and I can switch back and forth. And now I use 24. And then I run node again. So it's now using node 24, right? So that's very, very convenient. So if you're new to the NVM and other things, I suggest everybody immediately do that. Is if, for example, if you use a Node v24 and you want to make that default, because your system might not have 24 as a default, right? So that's an NVM alias default 24. So once you have this, so the default has been turned into the 24. So that's whenever you have a new window open, and so if you run this node version, is going to be node 24. If you don't make this default, you might end up to run another open another terminal tab that has a different node version. So that sometimes is very confusing. It might cause you to shoot what happened. It just worked on the left window, but why it didn't work on my right window, right? So I think this is basically the very beginning part of that. So this is probably the only requirement to use ArcBlock. When you use no matter it's AIGNE Framework or using Blocklet Framework or Blocklet servers, that's all you need. We try to make this as simple as possible. You need a Mac or you need a Linux. Remember, update your system to the latest version, and then run this terminal and install Node Version Management (NVM). And once you have the NVM, install the latest Node version. Right now is 24. You might ask, how do I know what is the latest version? Because when we're recording this, Node is 24, but maybe somebody see this, Node is already 25 or some other versions, right? So Google is your best friend. You can check Node.js latest version. Usually you will be able to see, what is the latest version of the Node.js. Of course, you can also go to the official website to see what's the latest version, right? Just to make sure that you install the NVM and the Node.js to the latest version, and then we can go from there. And if you don't, get what I said in this live stream, it doesn't matter. So for every of those live stream, we're planning to have recorded video, and also we're going to provide in some kind of text material, so you don't need to go through all the video, and we're going to put the core concept that we have covered in the live stream, especially for those commands that you're going to need to type, and the links, and just read those materials, and you can quickly scan through. Just the 2 command line, you get everything ready to go with ArcBlock. So
Hey, Robert,
now,
quick question. A quick
yeah,
question from the community. Are we still using Forge CLI, or has that migrated to one of our other?
you mean the Forge CLI, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah. So then no, the short answer is no. So Forge has been sunset for now is already 5 years. We sunset Forge on 2020. So there's no longer Forge SDK or Forge CLI that we support, and the Forge project itself has become open sourced. And if anybody who still want to use that, and you can just fork the Forge CLI, and but that's a very different story, because Forge is not based on Node.js at all. Forge is based on Elixir. That is a language that is built on Erlang machine. So that's basically tell a little bit the kind of old story that we have when ArcBlock get started. We picked a very fancy platform. Erlang, right? So we use Erlang virtual machine and use a modern language built on Erlang virtual machine called Elixir. So we use Elixir and the Erlang platform to build our blocks first version. So Erlang language is actually a very nerdy, geeky, and cool language, right? So in the past, if you say, "Hey, I'm an Erlang programmer," and people might show respect. Wow, it looks like a super nerdy guys. And actually, indeed, the Erlang virtual machine and the design concept of Erlang is pretty good. I think that recently those cool boys turned from the Erlang to Rust, right? So you see tons of people say, "Oh, I'm a Rust developers," or I built this in Rust. I think those languages are they're every language has its own lovers and haters. And for example, a lot of people really like PHP, think that PHP is the best language of the world, right? I think it's good as long as you like the language. But the reality is, no matter how cool this language is, when we turn into the developer communities, we need a developer to really easy to get started and easy to learn, easy to get started. And we also wish there's already a lot of developers in this community. Eventually, we decided, we make a really painful decision in 2020. That's during pandemic. We decided, so let's ditch the platform we have on Erlang and Elixir. Not because it's not bad. It's actually really good, very efficient, really good. But the problem is there is very, very few developers already know that, and the community is relatively small, and the learning curve of Elixir itself is not that hard, but the learning curve of Erlang is really pretty tough, right? So we decided to move every stack to the Node.js, actually TypeScript, JavaScript and TypeScript. This is not the most fancy language in the framework, but it is the most popular one. And the best thing that we picked TypeScript and JavaScript is also a reason that when in the AI Camp event I mentioned, is because if you use JavaScript or TypeScript to build applications, your code will going to automatically run on browsers and as long as on the server side. So actually JavaScript was invented by Netscape. So they invented JavaScript just for a language that can quickly run on a browsers. But nobody knows that JavaScript this language was just created within weeks. So it's a very, quick and dirty language. But sometimes in the computer, quick and dirty stuff turned out to be very popular because it's very easy to get started. Eventually, the Node.js is actually the JavaScript version running on the servers. Before Node.js, JavaScript is majorly only run on browsers. But somebody from Google, eventually since JavaScript is such a popular language that a lot of people know and very easy to get started, why not we also write a server side with JavaScript? That's how he built the Node.js, and it became instantly successful. And so now with Node.js, you can run JavaScript within the server side, right? So the JavaScript was the original name, and but the JavaScript has a lot of because JavaScript was a language that created it very, fast. It's a quick and dirty language, so it has a lot of problems, and especially one of the problem is it's very flexible. It is not type safe, and it's not strong typed language, and so that cost is sometimes debug is a hell. And it's much harder to find the problems during you write the code. So eventually Microsoft reinvented JavaScript and named that called TypeScript. So actually I bragged, and actually it's a truth that at the time when I work in Microsoft research, and I'm one of the very first few people and project in probably the first external project other than the TypeScript team themselves to use TypeScript to build a serious software. At that time, TypeScript is still called Strada. It's called Strada. At that moment, it's just like a framework run on top of JavaScript. So what TypeScript does is TypeScript is just another new language that is strong typed, and it runs on JavaScript. So the TypeScript compilers compile the TypeScript and translate that into the JavaScript. And so it's 100% compatible with JavaScript, because when it runs, it actually is JavaScript. But when you code, it's strong typed. So strong typed is basically say because type is something important in software. For example, one is a number, another is a string. If for a weak typed language, probably treat the string and the number same, because you could write, for example, 1, 2, 3, 4. You can treat that as a number. It also can treat this as a string. But for a strong type, it need you to very specifically say it is a string. When you present me 1, 2, 3, 4, you need to clearly tell me it is a string or this is a number, right? If you pass a string to me and supposed to use a number, I'm going to refuse and give you, raise an arrow for you. Why doing that? Because this is more strict, so this is going to eliminate potential problems. Because if you are so easily, when we are speaking language, sometimes you misunderstand people. Why you're misunderstanding? Since everybody speaks English, just because sometimes it's not very strict. You don't know, right? So for people who fly airplanes, you might know that in airplane language you speak all those kind of English characters with a word. That is also try to avoid the misunderstanding. Yeah. So that's some kind of a side talks, and we no longer support Forge, and now everything is our new framework. We only have actually two important things. One is Blocklet. All those kind of Blocklet server, Blocklet building tool, they are under the umbrella of the Blocklet, right? And AIGNE is actually the only new one that we come out. Because AIGNE is all about AI, and the Blocklet is about blockchain, DApps, Blocklet servers, and Blocklet applications. So no matter AIGNE or the Blocklet, the only requirement is latest updated macOS or Linux, and then install the Node.js correctly. I just spent 20 minutes just talking about this. So now we can let's go back to this example. So the goal for this kind of first Buildathon is, I think the goal for this first Buildathon is, if you watch this Buildathon, you have a computer and want to try, you should be able to at least get the example running. And once you can get this one example running, you're going to get every example running, right? And after you get the example running, you can directly to feel, okay, kind of demystified what this code looks like, right? Because this code is nothing but writing something for you, like the computer writing something for you. And once you are able to get this example running, right? For example, you see this simple example, and if you can get that example running, you can quickly, open this code, because you see this code is only 7 lines. You can just kind of change a little bit. For example, this temperature, what this temperature means, probably you don't know, but you don't need to worry. Just turn that from 0.8 to 0 and give it a try, right? And what happened, and or turn this 0.8 to 1 and run that again and see what happened, right? And this kind of a chat model name uses GPT-4o mini, changed to GPT, like 3.0 or 03, changed to different kind of a model and run that again. And after you modify the examples and try to play that again, and you kind of understand that better, and also build your confidence to kind of touch this code, and then you can change more and more, and then someday you will figure out that, oh shoot, this is so easy, and I can do that myself. So hopefully, after today's first Buildathon, you're going to be able to set up the whole environment and be able to run at least one examples. Don't worry, since we're doing this Buildathons, and we're going to, not like on the stage, only have 30 minutes, so I can quickly do a demo, so flashy. We're going to do that one step by step. It's basically like a workshop. You're supposed to be able to, within this 1 hour, you're going to be able to kind of run it. And once you get the first example run, you should have other tens of example run, right? So the second step is OpenAI API key. So this is like the current minimum requirement for you. You need to run the AIGNE framework. You need OpenAI API key. And so just before I prepare for today's hackathon, actually just write something on our team site, say that we need to kind of eliminate this one as well, because probably not everyone have the OpenAI API key. Even you have OpenAI, probably you don't know what is the OpenAI API key, and you probably also don't know. It's also confusing what is the API key, and if you do not manage API key well and lost it, probably somebody else can use your account and basically use your money. So we are going to hopefully for the next hackathon, Buildathon, or we are able to update this, so you don't need to use the OpenAI API key, but instead use ArcBlock, right? So this is something that when I prepared this, I realized that, because probably no developer thinks this is a big problem or this is a big deal, but I believe for anybody who is new to the system, going to get trouble and stop here. So, but today I'm still going to show you how to have this OpenAI API key, right? So how to get the OpenAI API key? So we have the link here. Is once you click, it's going to take you to OpenAI. So that's open. So I just need to log into OpenAI. Continue with Google. So once I continue with Google, I go to this kind of a OpenAI API keys page. So if you don't click the link, you can just go to the OpenAI's website, and OpenAI website is not ChatGPT, is OpenAI, the company itself. So if you go to the OpenAI, you have to score, to the you can see the menu on the left. There is an API platform, and once you click that API platform, it's going to take you to the same place. Once you logged in, and you need to have the payment, and they're going to give you the API key. I don't know I guess this is a separate with ChatGPT. Even your paid ChatGPT, you probably, if you need the API key, you probably need to sign up with the OpenAI's platform again to be able to get the API key. That's why I'm thinking we need to use the ArcBlock's AI kit to make this more simplified, right? So ArcBlock's AI kit is actually like a large language model router, so it's going to be able to automatically direct your large language model call to OpenAI, to Anthropic, to many other model providers, and you don't need to get the API key for each of them. And of course, AI kit is going to give you some free quota, so you don't need to do anything, and you're able to kind of try a few things. But then you're going to, if you want to use more or use that seriously, you need to pay. And of course, with ABT, with crypto ABT, you can very easily to use ArcBlock's tokens and ArcBlock's payment kit to be able to use all those kind of AI models. So that's actually one of the value why ArcBlock is building AI, because ArcBlock make the AI payment so much simpler, right? If you use a OpenAI, you have to connect your bank account or your credit card account, and it's also prepaid. You have to pay the money first, and then you're able to use. And once your money run out, it's going to automatically charge your credit card. But with a crypto payment, and usually it's instant and fast, and you can do pay as you go, and you can also do the similar thing like prepay, right? So that will just make things simpler. So once you have this API key, you can see this is all the API key that in one of our default projects that you'll see. Those are API key, they're secret, right? So you will not be able to see them. So if you are new to this page, is this going to empty? You only see this green button here to create a new API key, new secret key, right? So once you create, you just give it a name, and you're going to create a key. And once you create this key, you need to copy that. You only see it once because you only see this API key once, right? Once you have this API key, now you can begin to play with ArcBlock. So when I go back to this, so you have Node.js installed, you have OpenAI API key, and on the console, you need to run this command. Sorry, not this one. You need to run this command. Is basically you need to export your OpenAI API key equal to your real key, right? Your key here, right? If you don't set this OpenAI API key, or if you use a wrong key, when you run the agent later, it's going to give you some errors. The error looks like scary, but it's going to be, but it's not too bad. So let me to give you to see if actually I can reproduce this error, right? If the first thing you need to kind of have this API key installed, and then the second thing is you can copy this and run it, right? So this line, I use a new terminal, that is probably don't have the API key set up. All I need to do is copy that command line. You will see what it does right now is actually going to pull this exact demo and try to run it. Right? So you will see this kind of is waiting here, or sometimes you will see some of the warning or something if you are for the first time to run this, usually it takes much longer for you to install, because this is essentially we build this. We have this npx command, which is a fast way for you to for people to run the demos, because that is a way you don't need to install any dependencies. All these dependencies are solved for you. So it actually takes a much longer time, and sometimes it prints these scary warnings, and it's not a problem. So yeah, so now we have this, let me see, node-v. So if you run the second time, it's going to be faster. I think there's something wrong here. So it's supposed not to type the AIGNE framework. I don't know what happened. So let me try this one. npx.y. Yeah, I think we have some issues for this one. Let me try another one to see if the examples actually got some problem. Let's try this group chat.
It's all real and unscripted.
Yep. So it happens all the time. So sometimes do the developer works that really need a patient, and sometimes you waste maybe a couple of hours. It's just because of like one tiny error, and you waste a lot of time. And also because software development usually is a teamwork, and so for example, some of our engineers probably in Asia last night, they might do something, change something, and this small change, it could cause a problem. And yeah, so usually, so this one it works. Actually, for example, this one it works. So basically, this is one of this group chat. I say to write a story about, yeah. So this is actually try to work, but I think this is like one of the more complicated. Okay, it's actually worked. So this is one of the more complicated, workflow called a group chat workflow. So I'm planning to cover later, but I don't know why the simplest one and didn't work. Sorry. So what I intend to do is actually to have to show that without the API key. But I was in these test folders. Let me show you. In these test folders, because why it has the API key? Because I have an environment.local set up. So agent going to automatically look at the environment to see if there is some setting already set up. Because I already set up that API key is actually automatically take that API key to use. So that's probably why. So I can go to a upper folder to give it another try to see. So if the API key, you see, so this is actually what I want to show you. So I try to run this example, but it's actually, it's through an error message. So this error message, this is mostly for developers to figure out. So it looks scary, but actually for a developer, they will see where exactly the error is come from. This is the code. But the the red part is actually the error message. The error message they tell you like set the API key environment, because if you don't set the API key environment, it's not going to work, right? So that's basically back to the what I explained, that you need to set the API key environment, and once you have this API key environment set up, and you can just go to those examples and find those examples and try to run it. Let me try this kind of basic chatbot again to see what happened. So this basic chatbot, and if it is still don't work, that basically means somebody, apparently something was wrong, and it probably updated by our developers, and this no longer work. So this is no longer run this demo, but instead is type it's just to show the AIGNE framework standard message, and to say it actually have an error. So this is likely they have the update last night and caused some issues. We're going to I'm going to write usually on my daily work, I'm going to write this as a bug report. And so I highly encourage you, for example, whenever you hit something that is not expected, not like this, and you can just go to like the community .arcblock.io, and you can submit one of the issues here. And if you submit this kind of issue, for example, this issue, you just write a note, and our engineer will surely going to look into it. And actually, this qualified for the bugs bounties, because if you write this kind of figure out this, for example, what I see is obviously there is a problem, and once you report these issues, and you're going to qualify for each of those bugs bounty. And the bugs bounty usually right now for the developers bug bounty is 1,000 ABT, and is going to distribute it with whoever has been participated. So those once you see all of those issues, just feel free to report it, and if it will verify that this is indeed a issue, and you're going to get the bug bounty, right? So for example, when I doing the demo here, and I tried this kind of simplest, this is the most simple, the most simple aging example is actually break, right? So it didn't do things that we expected to do, right? So this chatbot example doesn't work. So let's skip that and see if we can do another example. Let's say do this chatbot with a memory. See if this one works. So it's like I said, it's super simple. You just figure out, see a example, and you find, okay, is that interesting, and you just copy one of the command and run. And when the first time, it usually takes a little bit time to install this demo, usually from a few seconds to minutes. That is possible, depends on your network. And this npx command will automatically install it, and then it's going to try to run it. And okay, so this time, this one it works. So this is for example, this is one of the examples. It's called a memory example. This is actually a simple chat that it remembers things, right? So for most of the agents command line, I just use the exact same command that I used for the demo, but I changed the parameters called a -input to -chat. So the difference is the -input is basically you want to run this one off, because each of the AI agent, the agent itself it just responds to you, right? It's not just like ChatGPT is going to chat with you. So a typical input is just like I give you some input and you give me the output. Like for example, in previous case, you just say, I tell you, I like blue colors, right? So and the agent just tell you, say blue is such charming color, blah blah, and it's done, right? But now I use a parameters called a --chat. So this is basically run the agent. Say I want to enter this kind of chat loop. So this is basically like a ChatGPT. I can say hi, hello, and once I say hi, and you can see this chat agent return back, say hi, how are you? So in the between this my message to the final result, you will see this is basically the information, the AIGNE framework. This is actually one of the important features that AIGNE framework provided for our developers or you to let you know what exactly happened. So we can see there. So when I say hi, this kind of invoked one of the agent called a memory example. This is a demo tools we're running. So this is the agent for this whole demo, right? So this agent memory example actually invoked another agent called the default memory retrievers. So this is example about. This is basically this agent tried to use this memory retriever to figure out what this agent remembered to you, right? And then you can see it's invoked an agent called FS. FS means file system memory retrievers, and so you can see this is basically the memory is stored in a file system, and this try to kind of get the memory from the file system, and then it's going to evoke AI agent chat model, and so this model tell you that we're using GPT 4.1, and there's 158 input tokens and 16 output tokens. This takes 2.7 seconds to run, right? And then eventually we see there's another few OpenAI call. So this is basically try to, you will see actually when I say this hi, is actually use a large language model for 3 times, and it cost, consumed all those tokens. And the last line is basically tell you how many tokens it has been used, right? The large language model use a very interesting way to billing. It's called a token, right? The token is the same as a blockchain. The name is the same as blockchain token, because token is a very common used word in computers, and the large language model happen use a token as this kind of a computing or billing credit unit for it internally, and it's essentially the same concept as a blockchain token when the blockchain token is used for utility, right? The only difference is blockchain token is more about how the token is secure, safe, but for most large language model, token is just the internal, billing unit. It's not kind of it didn't care too much on the verifiable or the secure or how to transfer that. It's just a kind of billing unit, right? So in ArcBlock, so that's actually ArcBlock's ABD token is all about is a billing unit, is a computing unit, is all designed for this, because in the real production, you need this billing unit that run across your software to know how much resource you have allocated for this client to do this, right? For example, for this, I simply said hi. It consumed 721 input token and 41 output tokens, right? But how much are those token costs? It's probably cost a little bit, but it's for this program, especially when you are a developer, you want to build applications, you really need to know what is your cost structure, how much money you have used, right? And then once you have know those token used, you also need to bill your customers. The bill your customer, you can either sell those tokens, and the customer have 1,000 tokens, and they actually in this call they used 763 tokens, and they only have a couple left, right? or you can create a different token model because you want revenue. I could say I sell another token which is more expensive or less expensive, but I can basically build a business model, right? So I believe a lot of our community are blockchain users, and you probably heard about all those kind of different tokens and the exchange all the time. The good news is this is exactly the same thing, right? The only thing is, on the blockchain world, especially in the past, people are all thinking about how to make the token, buy the token, and sell the token, and not enough use cases how to consume and use the token, right? For the AI world, almost all those AI things, no matter your large language model, you're chatting with ChatGPT, or you're using AI to generate some artworks, is also all about using token to billing, right? The only thing is in the AI world, people didn't think too much about how this token is secured, how to ensure, how to buy, for example, how to buy 10,000 tokens from somebody for OpenAI. They didn't care that much. They just paid, like say, hey, pay us some money to do it, right? But actually, if you're using the OpenAI's API, it's actually have a page to tell you how much how much is this token cost, right? So those parts between the question and the answer, this is in the computer. This is called a log. So the log is basically tell you what exactly happened, right? And you can see when you are using our examples, this example, there's just a few lines of code, and the framework do all those kind of log for you, and so something was wrong or something is okay, right? Or something is not as you expected. So now I can tell, I can do more demo. What color do I like? Yeah, you can see this is a memory demo. So the ChatGPT, so the AI know that you like the color blue, right? So why the AI know I like the color blue? Because if you look at on the top is when I call this example, I have this input. I like color blue, right? Because I run this demo separately for 2 times, it's still remembered, because this memory demo, whenever I tell something to them, and say AI remember it and remember store it, so the next time when I ask the same or similar question again, so it remembered, so now I can do more. I can, for example, if you have this kind of run this demo, you can just feel free to play with it. I can ask, who am I? And AI is supposed not to know who am I, because apparently I didn't, it's just, I know you like blue, but I don't know that. So I just tell AI, say, remember, my name is Robert, and I live in Seattle. I built ArcBlock. So this is basically a chat. I tell the AI, say, hey, my name is Robert, and I live in Seattle, and I build ArcBlock. And then I can ask again, who am I? So you see, now AI remember, my name is Robert, and I build which company I built. So you build ArcBlock, right? So AI knows. If I can just quit by Control D and Control C, and now I quit this application, because for this particular demo, the AI has the memory, right? So if I run that again, and I can ask the same question to see, it's supposed to be still remember me, and say, who am I? So you remember, see. You remember, still say your name is Robert, and what color do I have? So you still remember I like the color blue. So this is basically a very simple, memory chat demo that that I show you. And so this memory demo, so now you prepared the system, you know how to get the API key, and now we successfully run a very simple, demo applications. If you want to explore what exactly happened, right? You can click on this example folders. You will see the code. That is the code that we used for this memory. So that's the first step. You can go into the code, and you see the code is pretty simple. The code is using, but to be able to play with this, you need some code skills. We can cover this later. But just to look into this is using the framework to create this kind of a chatbot, remember everything. It's very simple, right? Now you might say, this is really good, but I kind of feel looking into those logs, they're very messy, and yeah, we get it. So that's actually one of very important cool feature that ArcBlock has, is called observability, right? Observability is important tools in the AIGNE framework that we built for the developers like you, and also like myself, like our teams, and to be able to know what exactly happened. Just as a few logs or reading the code is not that helpful. So once you have the AIGNE installed, you're going to be able to have this kind of AIGNE command line. Right now I have the AIGNE running is because I already installed it, right? So to install AIGNE, all you need to do is npm-g I at AIGNE CLI. That's right. So npm is one of the commands that you come together with Node.js. Once you have Node.js installed, it's going to have the npm-g is an option called global. It basically means once you use a -g, and your whole system is going to have AIGNE as a command line, right? I means install, right? And at AIGNE, that is our name, right? /CLI is one of this package name. So if I run this npm-g I AIGNE /CLI, it will take a few seconds to minutes. It depends on if you already have the system installed or the system need to update. Usually it's pretty fast. And the first time is slower, but the later time update is way much faster, right? Once you install it, and you will be able to run this command line, you will see this familiar screen, and this also going to print you the version numbers. So once you have this command line, things become simpler. So you just type AIGNE observe. Once you have the AIGNE observe, it's going to tell you, it tell you some information. And one important thing is this is going to tell you now your computer is an observability server, and you can go to the browser and type in this local host. So you see a website. This website is served on the development computer, and you already see there is a bunch of things already show up here. And if you click on this, you will see this is actually the question I ask. I talk to the AI. Say what color do I like, right? And this is output. This output is exactly the same output that I see here, right? You like the color blue, that's a great choice, blue, and this is the same, right? So this is called observability. In this observability, you can see on the left, you can see this is the call steps, and we also have these blue bars. These bars show, for example, this call totally take 1.18 second, and each of those calls, they are different agents that are working internally. And something more important are those OpenAI chat model. In this model, you will see what exactly happened, because you see in this memory retrievers, it basically retrieved the memory, say the user like color blue, right? And once it's retrieved the memory, the user like color blue, and when I call this OpenAI chat model, it's actually output this color blue, right? And you will see the steps of this kind of memory agent is kind of first it's retrieve the memory, and then it's going to do the answer, and then it's going to kind of try to record the memory. So the record memory is the step to figure out during your conversation if there's something the AI need to remember, right? In this case, for example, the OpenAI just it didn't record anything because everything is already in place. But in the previous question, I specifically tell that remember my name is Robert. I live in Seattle. I built ArcBlock, and the AI agent actually going to write a few memories, and you will see this is the final memory. It learned from the past that what I've done. So user like blue, the user name is Robert, the user live in Seattle, the user built ArcBlock, right? So this observability is nearly real time. For example, if I'm doing this, just to look at here, if I'm running that again, and I try to tell more information to the AI, you will see on the back it's going to, let me move this smaller, so you will see. I can type here, and you can see on the back end, remember that I originally come from China. I also lived in Ireland. When I'm running this, you will instantly see from the observability, there is this item show up. It was quickly show as running, and then it's success. And then this come back, right? Now we can go back and see. So this observability is actually real time to monitoring what has been run and what is doing right now. And if you click into this, you will see this is a similar thing. I just kind of showed you. But if you go back to here to see what the memory updated, right? So you will see the user like color blue, the username is Robert, the user lived in Seattle, the user built ArcBlock, and the user original from China, and the user also lived in Ireland, right? So the AI keep knowing you better, right? You can tell all those kind of things, and the AI eventually going to remember more and more about you, and it become more mature. For example, I can ask how many country I have lived. So now you see AI say you live in 3 countries: China, Ireland, and the United States. And it's actually, it's super smart. And I can even try to ask a harder question. So have I been in Dublin before? So basically AI say likely I have been in Dublin before, because from the memory, that I live in Ireland before, and Dublin is a capital city in Ireland. So it's very likely that I have been in Dublin before, right? So this is pretty cool, right? So this part is the magic part of AI, because in the past, if you write a software that remember the user record, like how many countries, how many cities you have been, you can query and grab back that's pretty straightforward and simple. But if you ask a question that is not that direct in the database, and the AI is a large language model, and AI is a great thing. It's based on what it know about you, and it predict. For example, I never tell anything about Dublin, but just because I said I lived in Ireland, and is able to kind of predict. Very likely I have been in Dublin. I have ever lived in Dublin before, right? So this is very cool, right? So that's with this you can see with just the kind of less than 10 lines of code, you have a very smart AI agent that can remember things, right? Let me try to let it try to forget something, right? So forget about the color I liked. I no longer like blue. Instead, I like pink and a red. So the AI say, I'm going to forget about your blue. I just remember. So now I ask again, which color is my favorite? So look, so AI already forgot that because I asked AI to forget the blue, right? So instead I tell them I like pink and red, right? So this is the memory is super important. Is memory not only remember things about you, memory also supposed to be able to update and be able to forget. That's a human nature, right? So that's also to make an AI agent more smart. You need to not only to let it remember things automatically, but also need it to forget things as need. Right? You need to something you want them to forget, something you want them to update, right? And so the AIGNE framework. So to be able to let the AI have this memory, if you just use a large language model original API, is not that simple, right? It's doable, but it's not that simple. But with the AIGNE framework, for most of those memory, we just created a lot of those memory providers including from saving in the database or saving in a text file or saving in some vector database, and it's actually more complicated thing. But all you need to do when you used those, you just need to a few lines of code or just a few configurations. And so now you see we know how to run these examples. We also know how it works, right? And we also have these observability tools, so we can explore what has done, right? So, for example, I see this. Let's go to this latest one. So the latest one, you see the memory has been updated, right? So the updated is you can see the user like blue has been removed. It's turned into pink and red. So indeed, the AI updated the memory and automatically, and that makes this, that's why the AI remember. Even I quit this program and do that again, it's still going to remember me. So memory is a very simple but important features, and it's going to make your AI agent much more smarter. For anybody who has ever used the Agent Studio before, so Agent Studios do have the memory, but the memory is kind of limited. So sometimes you feel the AI agent is stupid. I just talk to something, I just tell the AI agent I have this, I have that, but next time it kind of forgot or it didn't mention that, right? So in the AIGNE framework, we build more into these memory features to ensure that the memory is smarter, just smarter. And once you have memory, you feel smarter. If anybody of you have ever used like ChatGPT recently, especially ChatGPT since the March, you feel ChatGPT feel way much smarter, especially smarter about you. It tell you and remember what you have told him, what kind of issues you have discussed with it, and so that's because in ChatGPT it supports memory, right? I think that's pretty much for the first one, and it's about an hour. It's more than an hour, right? So Um, I don't know. Yeah, is it too slow, or is this the phase is too slow, or is about the right time? And I really wish to get some feedback from our community and from you. And so, uh, you know, either say post a post in our community, or just tweet or reply the tweet. So I will try to kind of improve and make this better, and hopefully um, this is the way how we get the community engaged. And don't get scared about those command line and the code, and because this series, for this first few series, is about how to get people on board to kind of demystify how to do this coding. And if this format goes well in the future, we're also going to have this kind of visual stuff. For example, how to run blocklet server, how to install blocklets, how to build blocklets. Those are more visual, but this kind of command line is they are the like a foundation of the things with the visual, right? So as you can see, like from this command line, you get this web page. This web server didn't go anywhere. This web server is actually just this command line. This command, all those web servers, they are indeed this command line. If I Control C and quit this, and you try to kind of run this again, and site cannot be reached because I just stopped this web, right? So in the future, if we play with this blocklet server, you will see just one command line here. You get all the blocklet server. You can do all the magics all in this command line, and you have this block server. You have this website, and this website is just a kind of like a special interface, and the command line is way more powerful. And so all in all, I think is the idea. This is the first time, and probably the interactive with Matt is not that great, but sometimes the live casting, for example, I need to kind of write the code and to do the command line. I also need to drive the broadcast, and I also talk to Matt. Sometimes it's kind of might get confused, and yeah.
Yeah, it's perfect. I was gonna say, if anybody has feedback, send it to Robert, send it to myself. Going forward, we expect there'll be some additional materials and walkthroughs that actually go along with this, so you can actually you can do hands-on keyboard while we're actually walking through it. So I think that will also improve what we're doing. But it's a great start, and I know, Robert, I appreciate it because everybody's getting to experience what I experience every day, right? And having that opportunity to kind of also get some of the background, some of the learnings, the why we're doing things is actually really important. And I think the observability tool has been an aha moment for me in the last like 3 days, where I really started to understand what the benefit and impact of that actually is, in terms of like tokens and activity and AI doing what it's supposed to be doing. Super important. So I appreciate getting the feedback along the way here. So this has been great.
Yeah. So I hopefully, if this turned out to be well, I think we can do this more frequently. I think this is actually simple. This is something that actually I'm doing every day, and also this is the I think the most helpful part is because I'm try to prepare these kind of fundamental things, so that make me focus on a few of those things that I ignored for a long time, because how to get everybody started sometime, or how to get started from like a brand new environment. Sometimes it is challenging, but sometimes it's very easy to get ignored by our engineering team, also by myself, and try to kind of explain things to people who are new to this. I think that's also the way for us to improve our product. I think this is very helpful, right? Hopefully, this is not too long, and people have fun. That's important.
Yeah. Yeah. Next time, feel free, community-wide. If you have questions about use cases, how to use these agents, how to do things, you can feel free to ask those along the way as well. Robert is a fountain of information, and we can dive into tangents kind of as needed, because that's the other part too, is also understanding that using a memory agent, what all can a memory agent actually do, beyond just getting it up and running. So I think that's a great opportunity to learn that. So yeah, this has been great.
Yeah, and I highly recommend people not to stop here, because even I demoed like 2 or 3 demos and one is failing, and but most of the focus on this memory. But there's a tons of different demos over here. Each of those demo are basically very similar, and you can just and some of them this is very pretty technical to explain what happened. But if you look down here, it's pretty much straightforward and tell you what to do. And also in the later part is also tell you, for example, the dash chat I've told you, run that in the interactive chat mode. And there are other parameters to let you kind of play different things. And so just feel free to play with it. And my plan is for the next one, we're going to run some other demos, and then eventually we begin to. The idea is first we run each of these examples, and then we begin to write our first agent, the super simple one, and then we writing more code and to make that more and more interesting. And hopefully, by the end of this episode, you can create your own AI agent with AIGNE Framework, and also we were going to, if this format works well, we're going to kind of expand this to the whole ArcBlock ecosystem. How to use Blocklet, how to use a payment kit, how to issue a token, how to create an NFT. There's already people figure out how to create an NFT, and we're going to teach more people to how to create an NFT and how to create customer token, because the token going to be 100% legal soon. Right today, there's a news that there's bills coming out. It's not yet the completely legal, the crypto and the token issuing things. But we're prepared. Once the token issuing is ready, and we have payment kit, we have all those utilities, right? You can have you can issue a lot of tokens that is actually meaningful and useful, and make money by selling service, not make money by tricking people, right? I think this is a long day. This is the day that we're looking for, because our blog is all about utilities. There's millions of utilities. You can create a value, create a millions, tens of millions, thousand millions values that sell to the real customer, and with the blockchain technology and with the AI technology to make the real money from the customer, right? Not just pump and dump and buy and sell trade. That works, but the whole new technology is about building interesting applications, right? AI is I think this is the great era is coming, and especially. We're going to cover the vibe code, right? It's also in the future. It's not just me talking. So next time, probably you talking, and I grab some engineering talking, or they don't talk, they code, right? So we see the code, and I talk to them. They're writing the code. The idea is just this kind of a unprepared, not a performance, but this kind of a how we work and how we, help you to learn to work together with us, and eventually we create value, create a great application, create value, and have fun. I think that's it, right?
Awesome. Thank you, Robert.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Matt.
And very likely people will hear more from me starting next week as well. So looking forward to also meeting others in the communities. We bring other folks in to be part of this.
Awesome. So I will stop the stream and